before reality TV, before live war coverage, before streaming violence to your phone. One Italian director dragged a camera crew deep into the Amazon and staged a nightmare that looked like breaking news. This wasn't just another cannibal flick. This was Cut and Run, a 1985 fever dream that starts like an adventure movie and then rips its mask off. Helicopters roar over emerald treetops. Reporters sweat under bulletproof vests. A cocaine warlord rules like a demigod. A lost colleague, a hidden cult, a jungle full of traps, and the audience lured in with the promise of action only to be ambushed by horror. It's the movie Ruggero Deodato, made after Cannibal Holocaust. A man already branded the most dangerous director alive. He came back with something slicker, faster, and in many ways nastier. Advertised as an adventure thriller, it uncoils like a venomous snake. Bright colors, big stars, and then bite blood in the water. By the time you realize you're not watching an action film but an ambush of the senses, it's too late. The jungle has closed in, and censors all over the world scrambled to cut their way out. This wasn't some tiny grindhouse crew. Deodato hired international faces to make the horror look legitimate. Lisa Blount as Fran Hudson, the ambitious American TV journalist who thinks she's chasing a story but ends up running for her life. Leonard Mann as Mark Hamilton, her cameraman and reluctant partner, slowly realizing the story may cost them their souls. Willie Ames as Tommy Allo, a privileged kid caught in the crossfire, giving the audience an outsider's view of the nightmare. Karen Black in a cameo, the hard-nosed news anchor, symbol of the civilized world hungry for jungle blood. Richard Lynch as Colonel Brian Horn, the rogue ex-army colonel turned cocaine lord, blending political terror with ritual violence. Michael Berryman as Ketcho, Lynch's terrifying henchman, his bald head and piercing stare burned into viewers' memories. Even the camera style mimics live reporting. Big names, glossy visuals, and then Deodato slips in his trademark cruelty. Fran Hudson is not your typical TV reporter. She's built her career chasing blood-red headlines around the globe. And her latest assignment looks like another big break. Track down a missing colleague somewhere in the lawless reaches of the Amazon. Along with her cameraman, Mark Hamilton, she heads into a world where the cocaine trade is a private war and government power stops at the river's edge. At first, it's the story she's been hunting for. Jungle airstrips, whispered deals, rebel soldiers in mirrored sunglasses. But as their boat winds deeper into the green maze, the signals get stranger, villages burned out and silent, warnings scrawled in Spanish, and rumors of a white colonel who executes captives for sport. That colonel is Brian Horn, an ex-army officer turned cocaine kingpin. He's built his empire on blood and fear, surrounding himself with mercenaries in a fanatical cult who perform ritual killings to keep the jungle spirits appeased. He uses cameras the way other warlords use guns, to intimidate, to record, and sometimes to broadcast terror back to civilization. Fran and Mark think they're documenting a story. Instead, they're starring in it. Each mile upriver erodes their journalistic distance. Each encounter escalates from interviews to ambushes, from whispered threats in humid bars to machetes flashing in torchlight. They find the missing colleague, but not in the way they'd hoped, and they realize too late that Horn's empire thrives on outsiders who wander in thinking they're immune. Helicopters roar overhead. Hostages try to flee through mangrove roots. The TV team's tapes, meant to be exclusive footage, become evidence of atrocities and a death sentence if Horn gets to them first. By the final act, Fran and Mark aren't just fighting for a scoop. They're running for their lives through a world where adventure journalism has turned into a jungle execution. Cut and Run never plays like a normal action movie. It starts as an investigative thriller, but mutates into a survival horror wrapped in news-style realism. The longer you watch, the more it feels like a broadcast from a place civilization pretends doesn't exist, and a warning about the cost of chasing spectacle into the heart of darkness. Like Cannibal Holocaust, Cut and Run existed in two bodies. An American R cut trimmed the nastiest images, heads on stakes, disembowelments, ritual killings. But Europe got the hard cut, a version so feral Australia refused classification, and the UK hacked away whole minutes under its video nasties panic. Collectors whispered about the true version, smuggled on grainy import tapes. Even the toned-down release felt dangerous. The uncut print became legend. In Britain, it sat on the infamous Section 3 list with other prosecuted titles. In Australia, the film was outright refused for theatrical release. Only decades later would fans see the real film as Deodato shot it, complete, slick, and savage. Today, Cut and Run stands as a time capsule of the last gasp of Italian exploitation, when budgets were shrinking but ambition still roared. Modern Blu-rays finally restore the uncut print, revealing just how far Deodato pushed TV-style adventure into forbidden territory. It's studied alongside Cannibal Holocaust, Cannibal Ferox, and Man from Deep River as the apex of jungle shock cinema. Critics now read it as a satire of sensationalist media. Fans cherish it as a jungle nightmare that feels strangely prophetic of our modern appetite for live, violent footage. It's a film about journalists looking for horror and finding themselves inside it. What began as a jungle thriller ended up as prophecy. So if you think you've seen everything, if you think nothing from the 80s can still rattle you, watch Cut and Run. It's the broadcast you were never meant to see, a fever dream of adventure turned autopsy. And it proves Ruggero Deodato wasn't a one-film wonder. He was a master of the forbidden image. Follow or subscribe for more deep dives into cinema's most banned and controversial films, because this rabbit hole only gets darker.